My name is Francis, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to find out who you really are. How to actually find out who you are at a deeper level, even beyond social conditioning, even beyond who you think you are. Because a lot of the times, we have this story playing in our head about who we think we are. We have this story, we have this narrative playing in our mind about reality, and we believe that story actually is reality. We believe that story about reality is actually reality itself. We mix the two together. We think that reality is the story in our head. And to a certain extent, it is a reflection of that story, but is it who you truly are? Is a thought about who you think you are actually who you are? Is a thought that you tell yourself about who you think you are actually who you are? If you have a thought in your head that tells you, I am not worthy, and you picked up that thought from childhood when you were a little kid, from some situation that occurred when you were with your family or at school, is that thought really who you are? Let's just be honest here. Let's talk about who you are at an existential level. If you look at your thoughts right now, if you observe a thought in your head, is that what you are? Is that what you are? Is a thought in your head who or what you are? Because what I'm telling you is that if you have a thought in your head telling you something and you can actually witness that thought, Eckhart Tolle calls it a spaciousness, where you can just look at that thought. If there's something within you that can simply observe a thought, then is that thought really who you are? And you might be thinking, okay, Francis, how is this going to help me? How is this going to benefit my life? Why are you talking about who I am at a deeper level? This is extremely important because when you're trying to create a new vision for yourself, if you want to use the law of attraction or you want to become a new person in your life, if you want to shift into a new identity, who you are at a deeper level is going to be the most important thing. Because even that new version of yourself is not who you truly are. Let's say you're a shy person and you shift into a confident person. Both of these are just constructs in the mind that we've created. It's a story that's playing in your head. And you can write any story that you want, but the question is that story who you actually are? Is that story about who you think you are actually who or what you are at a deeper level? Is that story that you tell yourself actually what you are? Because how can a thought be what you are? Think about this for a second. Think about this. Contemplate what I'm saying. Is a thought really who you are? Because what I'm telling you is that you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're not your feelings, you are not even your body, and you're definitely not a human being. You're definitely not the name that you tell yourself. You're definitely not the personality that you have. That's not who you are, because that personality is going to change. The thoughts about who you think you are, you being a shy person, you being somebody that is attached to a 9-to-5 job, maybe you're just the kind of person that can't have a relationship, maybe you're the kind of person that can't go for their dreams because that's just who you are. And maybe it's too late, or maybe it's too early, or you're too young, whatever your mind's going to tell you. But all of these are just stories. And let's flip it completely. Let's talk about that future version of you that's already living the dream of who you want to be, that's traveling the world, having that online business, or whatever it is that you want to do. You want to be an artist. You want to be following your purpose. You want to be doing what you love, traveling the world, having all the money, having the relationship. Is that who you are? Are either of those narratives who you are? One narrative is better than the other narrative, right? One version of you is better than the other version of you. I can admit that. Don't think I'm oblivious to that. I'm not saying that you can't shift into the identity that you want. I'm saying that both of them are not actually who you are. And as long as you're attached to both of them, you're always going to be limited to fully stepping into the narrative that you prefer. Because if you don't understand that at a deeper level, you are not both of those narratives, and you are something much deeper than the thoughts about who you think you are, you're not going to be in a position to be able to shift into the narrative that you prefer. because you're still attached. You have to disattach from either narrative, from the good or bad. Yes, it's better to be confident than not to be confident. Yes, it's better to have a big house than have a small house. Yes, it's better to have a relationship than not to have a relationship. Yes, it's better to love yourself versus hating yourself. Yes, it's better to have that good side happening. It's better to have good things happening than bad things happening. But at the end of the day, both of these are just human constructs. Both of these are just stories of the mind. Both of these are just forms in reality. Both of these are just different circumstances. Both of these are just different situations. But none of them are who you are at a deeper level. I'm just going to give you the truth straight. You are pure consciousness. You are pure awareness. You are the witnessing presence of reality. There's a formless part of who you are that comes before any form, before any thought, before any feeling, before any emotion. That part of you is where everything exists right now, that including that future version of you. That future version of you already exists in that state of consciousness. And I'm not just saying this as a concept. This is something that you can experience by learning how to observe your thoughts, how to observe your emotions, how to observe, because once again, if there is something there that can observe the voice, if there's something there that can observe the feelings and the emotions, then is that who you are? Because most people say, I am angry. I am a full-time YouTuber. I am somebody that does this. Or I am grateful that large sums of money come into my life easily and effortlessly. Okay, that's an affirmation I've been using. Or I am grateful that I make $10,000 a month easily and effortlessly. And I've been using that as well. Or I am grateful that I get to do what I love for a living. Okay, or how about on the other side? I am shy. I'm not confident. I can't follow my dreams. Okay, obviously the first one is better than the second one. But are either of those who you are? Are they just thoughts? They're just thoughts. They're not actually who you are. And the reason that this is important to understand is because from that space of awareness, from that space of being conscious of who you are before thought patterns, from that space of being the conscious observer is where you will have the power to shift into any role that you actually prefer. Because when you realize that you are not that future version of yourself and you are not the version of yourself that you're attached to now, when you know that either of these are not who you are, then you can start to shift into the identity that you actually prefer. When you realize that at a deeper level, you are not the role that you're playing, and you're just playing a role just for the sake of playing the role, because that's what reality is. Reality is meaningless. Not in a negative way, but in a way that we create the meaning and we create everything about this reality. We create the meanings, we create the ideologies, we create the role that we want to play. But the question is, are you going to be attached to either role? Because if you're attached to that role, it's going to create suffering in your life at the end of it. Suffering comes when you are attached. When you are attached to the old role, you try to step into the new role, resistance comes because you are still attached to the old role, and suffering will happen when you finally lose something in your life, when a form dissolves, when a form dies. When you lose something in your life, you're going to suffer because you were attached and you thought that's who you were. You believe that you're just this person. Well, then when you lose something in your reality that you think that's who you are and you're attached to this is my house, this is my house, I own this house, you lose the house, you suffer. Did you really own that house? Was it really your house? Or did you create an identity believing that you own the house? Can you really own anything in reality? Do you take ownership over your house, universally speaking? Because we created this document and you say, yep, this person owns this house. Is that really true? Do you really own that house at a deeper level? Are you really your body? Are those thoughts about who you are actually who you are? Is that really who you are? Or are you just attached believing that is who you are? Because all of these versions of you that exist in parallel realities, so to speak, right? There's a version of you that exists as the confident person. There's the version of you that exists as a shy person. There's the version of you that exists as that person, that. All of those exist now. And they all exist now, but you have to realize that none of these versions of you are actually who you are. You are pure awareness. You are pure consciousness. You are God. You are one with everything. And as God, you can create anything that you want. But if you haven't realized that you are God, you can't shapeshift into the reality that you want. And don't get me wrong, I am not religious. I'm not a religious person, and I never was. But if you don't realize the truth of who you are, like when I use the word God, I'm just talking about that thing that has the ability to observe reality, be one with reality. Because as God, you also had the ability to separate yourself from the oneness of everything, and you believe that you are a separate being. And that was necessary at the beginning. You had to become this separate ego being, but then when you realize the truth, you can separate yourself in any way that you want, so to speak. You can become that confident person, you can start the online business, you can become this, you can become that. But the point is, when you realize the truth of who you are, and you start living your life from that space, when you start living your life as that thing that you actually are, that comes before any form, when you actually live your life from that space, you can shift into anybody that you wanna become. Literally anything, any person, any identity. You can start to change that in an effortless way. You can shift the identity, shift into that version of you that already exists now in an effortless way, because you're not in resistance to that new identity, because you're not attached to the old identity, right? And the way you can make that shift is if you know that at a deeper level, both of these surface level identities are not even who you are. It's all just a story. Your whole life is a story in your head. And I'm sorry to say this because a lot of people don't want to admit that their whole life is a story, because your ego is so invested in this story that you don't want to let it go. You want to believe that you're a shy person. You want to believe that's just who I am. I am just a shy person. I can't shift into this person because this is who I am, Francis. What do you mean? I can't shift into that version of myself because I am just a shy person. What are you talking about, Francis? How can I just shift? Because you are a divine being. You have the power to shift into who you want, but the only way to make that identity level shift is to realize that none of these stories are who you actually are. That is the only way. Because you can take all the action, you can start taking all the action, you can become, you know what? If you wanted, you can do this, and I don't recommend this because you're gonna have a hard time. And it's gonna be much more difficult if you do this, but here's an option. You can take all the action, and through many years of work and many years of process and taking all the action, you can go from a shy person and you can become a confident person. And then once you finally do all these things, then you can become that confident person. You say, finally, I'm a confident person. I finally put in the work. I am a confident person. That's who I am. Is it really? Is it really who you are? Is that actually what you are? Because don't get me wrong, affirmations are powerful. I use them all the time. Because when you say I am something, you become that thing. Whatever you think about who you are, you become that. But to tap into that potential that you have to create what you want, you have to realize the truth of who you actually are beyond all of that. The I before the I am is what they call it in some cultures. The I, that sense of I exist before a thought comes in and tells me who I am. As you tap into the truth with a capital T of who you actually are, then your reality starts to completely shift, because you can start to make a free will choice and consciously shift into the reality that you prefer. You can consciously shift into that person that you want to be with no resistance, because you know who you actually are at a deeper level, which is pure consciousness, pure awareness. You are God that can create anything. And what I want you to understand is that when I use words like consciousness, awareness, the observer, the witnessing presence of form, I could even call it the formless part of who you are. I could call it the I before the I am. I could call it whatever you want, whatever floats your boat, whatever word works for you, but don't get lost in the words, because the word is not actually it. In fact, it's not even an it. It's not even a thing. It is no thing. It's nothing, not as the concept of nothing, but actual nothingness that comes before anything in your reality, that just there. It's just there. It's just in the background. Awareness of your hands, of your thoughts, of your feelings, of the energy field in your legs, of the energy field in your body, of the vibration of you living into your vision, of the vibration of you living as a victim. All of that comes within awareness, comes within consciousness. It's all within awareness. And within awareness, anything can be created. But you have to realize what you are as that awareness to release the resistance and shift into who you want to be. If you don't find the truth of who you are before the forms of reality, you will not be able to shift into the reality that you prefer in an easy and effortless way. This is the ultimate key to the law of attraction, because the higher level of consciousness that you achieve, meaning that the more aware you are of your reality, the more aware you become of things that you were not aware of before, the more that you shift into the truth of who you are, you live your life as that spaciousness, you can start to shift into the reality that you prefer. And the higher level of consciousness that you get, the higher vibration that you are resonating on, the easier things start to come into your life. The easier you can start to create what it is that you want as the creator of your reality. You can become the creator in a conscious way rather than in an unconscious way, because most people are unconsciously creating their reality. Their ego, who they think they are unconsciously, is in a perpetual loop, and that loop, that thought pattern of who they think they are, is creating the reality unconsciously. But if you can learn to be the awareness of that pattern, be the awareness of who you think you are, from that space of awareness, you break the old pattern and then you shift into the reality that you prefer. But the key thing here is to understand that you are awareness. You are awareness. You can't even identify as awareness. You can't even say I am awareness, because that thought is not actually who you are. It's the awareness that comes and observes that thought. That's the truth of who you are. Before any thought, before any emotion. Once again, from that space, you can create anything that you want. And that is how you find the truth of who you are. The best way to do this is to pursue enlightenment and pursue consciousness. Start meditating every single day. Start observing your thoughts. Start questioning who you actually are at a deeper level. Is a thought about who you are actually who you are? Is a thought telling you that you're not worthy actually true? Or is that an opinion and a thought story that you've attached to? Is it actually hard to create your reality? Or is that a story? Is it actually hard to make money? Or is that a story? Is it actually who you are? I am a full-time YouTuber. Is that actually who I am? Is it really? Let's be honest. Because if I'm truly honest with myself, I'm not even a human being. If I'm completely honest with myself, and this takes contemplation, I had to think about this, I am not even a human being. Because a human being is a concept created by humans. I could have called myself a blorg. I could have said, I am a blorg. But is that what I am? If I said I am a blorg, what if in another universe, we just called ourselves blorgs? And instead of the word human, we were blorg bogs. Instead of human would be a blorg, the bog would be the being, human being. We're just blorg blogs. Is that just who I am? Okay? It's not, because it's just labels. And even the feelings that come before that are also not who you are, because we like to attach thoughts to those feelings and mix them together. But none of them are who you are. None of them are who you are. You are pure awareness, you are pure consciousness, and you can create anything that you want as the divine being that you are. And every version of you exists in this present moment. To learn this, start meditation, start questioning who you think you are. Start putting into question, start contemplating your identity. Because you got to realize, once again, I'm just giving you the truth straight, but you don't just got to believe me, test it for yourself. Question this. Don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Question this. Are you your thoughts? Are you your emotions? Start meditation, start questioning this, and you will be able to find out the truth of who you are, and you can literally manifest anything that you want from that high vibratory state of consciousness. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I post a new video every single day. Hit that like button so more people can find the truth of who they really are. If this content resonated with your soul, if this content resonated with you, hit that like button so more people can see this kind of information. Also, my free guided meditation MP3 is available for download. Just click the link that's in the description box of this video. I'm also going to be leaving it as a comment in this video. And this meditation is specifically designed to help you connect deeper to the moment and the truth of who you are beyond the surface level ego, identity, human construct. So that's all I have for you today. Have yourself a great day and see you in the next video.